Okay, so with this one, I kind of wanted to come out and say either Call of Duty or Battlefield, because when it comes to first-person multiplayer shooters, I like to think I'm pretty good, but I'm only pretty good. I'm not a master of any of those games or that genre. However, when it comes to Crash Bash, the party Crash Bandicoot game for the PS1, that is probably the only game in existence I would lay claim to being a genuine master of, because my entire childhood was spent playing all of the Crash games, but kind of weirdly enough, especially Crash Bash, because I had a brother and a cousin who I used to hang out with all the time, and we always used to be around each other's houses, you know, visiting family and stuff, and we always used to play Crash Bash, which was compounded even more when I had friends over, and I like to think that I was the best at it because I just wanted to beat everyone else. I was quite a competitive kid, obviously, especially when it comes to siblings and family. You want to beat them, you want to show them who's boss, you want to put them in your place, and I could only do that through the medium of video games, and Crash Bash especially. And to be honest, even though I haven't touched it in a long time, I went back to it a few years ago when I got a PlayStation 1 again, the muscle memory is still there. The latent knowledge, the Karate Kid, Rocky style montages that I did when I was younger has primed me, I think, for life. You don't lose that kind of information. Precious memories about my parents and family members and loved ones have all gone, and yet the knowledge of Crash Bash remains solidly in the old head. So forget 1v1s on Rust. 1v1 me on that polar bear level where you have to knock each other off the edge. 1v1 me on the pinball kind of ice hockey game mode that I can't even remember what it was called. What was it about? You were in a little spaceship, you were getting magnetic balls. It was weird, but it was great. Loved every second of it. Every single one of those different game modes in Crash Bash, I think I could lay claim to being a master of. With the exception of maybe the pogo stick one. I've never been good at that stuff. I don't like lining stuff up. But when it comes to shooting balls at people and throwing TNTs on them, I'm at the very top.
So the video game that I am a master of is Planet Coaster. I sound like a broken down record, but I've been playing the game for 4 years, and I've put hundreds upon hundreds of hours into building attractions I could only have dreamed of building back in the Tycoon 3 days in 2004, Frontier in 2016, gave me the tools that I wish I could have had back then to create anything I wanted, and I took that by the horns. I grabbed it by the horns and I ran with it, and I have spent so many hours building attractions that are quite frankly ridiculous and are made up of so many different scenery pieces. My PC runs the game at about 16 FPS in a completed park. There's just so much stuff going on. Genuinely, some of my attractions have had 10,000 scenery pieces in just one ride. I put in so much time and effort into these attractions, and I know that I've spoken about how much I love the game before, but the beauty of this chat is I can actually give you a glimpse as to what I've built. In my first fully completed park, I built my own sort of interpretation of the Disney or California version of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. I built a whole sort of dark forest horror-y section of this park. I built a Gerstlauer Eurofighter which station was inside a dilapidated church. In my current park, I built Back to the Future the Ride, a go-kart attraction that literally takes you back in time between present day and 1885. I built a giant Pirates of the Caribbean clone full of lots of lighting triggers and sound effects and things. A full ghost train, which I've never really done in a park sim before because I've always had a weird fear of ghost trains. And the attraction that probably took me the longest, bar the Tower of Terror, which is a full enclosed Doom attraction roller coaster which takes you between the UAC and into the depths of hell. And whenever I would stream the game on Twitch, because I have an audience to see all these rides that I put so much time into, I don't just do it in my behind closed doors. I do it in a public space so people get to almost visit these parks. I've always played BFG Division over it when we ride it on stream because it works so well. After 4 years and hundreds of hours in this game, it's safe to say that I'm pretty bloody good at it. I know there are Planet Coaster creators out there who are like leagues above me, but for what I've managed to do, for what I never expected that I'd be able to take projects on as ambitious as the things I've created and actually see them all the way through to completion, it feels amazing. And it means that all those hundreds of hours that I've put in to this game haven't been for nothing. So I'm pretty bloody good at Planet Coaster, and now hopefully you've seen why.
So a video game that I feel like I'm pretty much the master at now has got to be the first Dishonored game, because I have just played that to death, and I have played it through all the different difficulties and modes and the DLCs for it, the challenge modes, because I just loved the game so much that I just kind of started then challenging myself to then get like all the achievements and all the unlockables and all the secrets and stuff that you can find, and then sort of talking to every sort of NPC, I guess if you can count them as NPCs, and helping them out, and trying to collect as many runes and bone charms and stuff as I could. So I have played the first one. The second one not so much, I'm getting there though, but I've played the first one to death. It physically cannot be played anymore, I don't think. There is nothing left to be unlocked. There is nothing left to achieve. I'm sure I'll still play it again anyway because I friggin' love that game, but yeah, I have played Dishonored, the first Dishonored, to death, to the point where I don't think there is literally anything else to play. I can probably go through the actual game, like the whole game, and maybe I feel like I've done it in like a couple of hours before, maybe a little bit more, but if I just sit there and just commit myself and just sit down and be like, I'm going to complete this game today, I could just get it done. Like, I just know the route perfectly. I know the secrets, the shortcuts. I know the ins and out of that game to a T now, that I can just sit there and just kind of just nonchalantly just work my way through the game really easily now, which is a shame because it's a brilliant game and I would love to just be able to continually just play it forever, and I guess that's why I've got Dishonored 2 now. But yeah, I just love Dishonored so much. It's my favourite game. I'm looking forward to the new Bethesda game that's coming out now, which the name kind of leaves my head, but yeah, it's just going to replace that for me because it's just, there's nothing left for me now. I have mastered it and I'm done. I'm done with it. So, sorry Dishonored, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you. Yeah.
Hello everyone, it's your egg daddy Jules here, and on the question of what video game am I an absolute master of, it's actually quite difficult because you see, unsurprisingly, I'm not mastering that much in life at the moment apart from being very bold. But when it comes to video games, one franchise definitely springs out to mind, and that is the Dynasty Warriors franchise. I am a master at that game. I can smash those 100-hit combos like nobody's business because I have iron thumbs and fingers of steel. It's not much of a brag, I know, but I do have every single one of the main entry Dynasty Warriors games, the Samurai Warriors games, the Orochi Warriors games, the Gundam Warriors one, the Hyrule Warriors, the... goddamn, what's the other one? The One Piece Warrior ones. I've got way too much of the same game. So it's kind of unsurprising that I've mastered hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay with them. Still though, it's a small brag. But I am master of one other game that unfortunately, my friend, you have just lost. Sucks to be you.
So this is something that I'm definitely not the master of, but I know I can pick up very well, and that's rhythm games. And I just love quite a lot of them and can play them quite well, in my opinion. Like for Beat Saber especially, I picked that up like in about an hour of trying it, and I can play Expert fairly decently. In fact, I'm rank 101 in the world for Turn Me On Expert. I don't know if the high score has changed or anything, but that was my score when I last checked it. Guitar Hero 3, I can play that on Expert as well, because it's such a fun game. I spent so many hours on it. I love it, even to this day. I can't do, obviously I can't do Through the Fire and the Flames because that is just a ridiculous song. You just need hours and hours and hours of practice for that. Osu as well, I was quite good at that. Not really my thing because the music wasn't too great as a selection. Like more into drum and bass and dubstep and all that, but all the other songs on there is like anime stuff. And then there's also Audio Surf and Audio Shield, and they're really fun. I was doing quite well in it. I mean, well, I say quite well. I only like the single colour mode on that because that's really fun. Audio Shield is especially so easy, but it's kind of like gone to crap now because it's not a great game. But anyway, rhythm games are my jam, really, as you can say, and maybe I'm not the master for them, but I definitely can pick it up very well, as I just said. But yeah, rhythm games.
Now, I'd love to be able to say that I'm the master of something, but twice over, I've been completely proven wrong. So first off, it was going to be Rocket League, which I still play every single day. I'm still banking multiple hours on Rocket League. Still like to say that I'm one of the better players out there. I'm always scoring goals. I'm always up there on the leaderboard. I'm always doing quite well. You know, what a goal and all that. You know, what a save and everything. And I thought, I'll challenge Osley, because Mr. Osley, our resident only Osley, Big O, is an esports man when it comes to Rocket League. He's cream of the crop, and I thought, well, I'll take him on. He'll be easy, I think it's in an old video where I called him out once, and he said, right, you sit down, we'll have a bit of a fight on Rocket League, and I lost. I think I lost like 7-0 or something, or 7-1. It wasn't a nice time, but it was in front of the whole office, and that you'd think it would humble me, but it didn't. And I then thought that, based on, and plus, I can hang this next bit on the fact that I'm very good at the original Crash Team Racing, which is where all this stuff came from. I thought, I'm Johnny Racing. I'm absolutely phenomenal at the Crash Team Racing. And when I played against Jules, Ben, and Peter back in the day on the PS1 version, absolutely smoked them. It was a lovely time. Even laughed poor Jules. He wasn't having a nice time at all. Come time for the remake, though, when that came out and we did a live stream for it, I'm bigging up. I'm giving it the biggin, because I'm going to be, going up against him on Crash Team Racing in front of the world. And I thought, and this is the honest truth, I thought when we were warming up, the first race in front of the world, well, we'll just warm up a bit on Crash Team Racing, and I held back because of my own stupid ego. I thought, I'll hold back. I'll let him get a bit of a lead, and then I'll destroy him at the end. And it didn't happen at all, did it? Jules just took the last shortcut on the first the track that we were on. I think it's the Aztec Ruins. And I lost. I lost right there. Lost in front of everyone. The whole office came in again, having a bit of a laugh. Ash with some sort of little trophy thing that I only saw Blind Rage at that point, but she gave me some sort of trophy thing. And there was that. So I'd love to be able to say what the game I dominate on, but every time I do that, it bites me in the bum. So it's not good. I'll put it out there now that I'm really good at Golf on Mars, because I think only 3 people are playing that, and so I'll put the score up. You can try and beat that. Bring it on, yeah.